Hello, my name is Julia, and today I'm going to be guiding you through an at-home Vinyasa yoga flow class. And so we'll get started today just in a seated position, maybe cross-legged, allowing the shoulders to fall back and down away from the ears, and if it's comfortable to have the hands just on the lap, perhaps with the palms open towards the sky. Just allowing the heart to be open. And as we settle in, we root down through the two sit bones and grow nice and tall through the crown of the head, staying connected down to the earth, yet growing upwards. Softening the eyes closed, softening all of the muscles in the face, the muscles that we're not using here in this particular moment. Allowing the hands to soften, and the jaw, the shoulders. Beginning to come into a mindful breath. Today I'm going to offer you a mantra. A mantra is an instrument of the mind. That's what the root of the word means. But really what we can interpret it as is a repeated word or phrase that we can either say over and over in our minds or out loud. The beauty of an at-home practice is that you can use this mantra that I'm about to give you out loud. You won't have to worry about judgment because you're at home, and there is so much freedom in being at home, away from any kind of expectations of society or feelings that you have to act a certain way. Of course, it depends on your home situation. But in general, if you're by yourself, I invite you to come into this mantra. And it's Loka Samastah Sukhino Bhavantu. If Sanskrit doesn't resonate with you and you can't remember that, then just know that it translates to may all living beings be happy and free. May all living beings be happy and free. Mantras were invented to interrupt the chatter that happens in the mind, the gossip, the judgments. You can go in there and interrupt those negative thoughts that really aren't your thoughts at all. You can interrupt them with may all living beings be happy and free. Continuing to breathe. If you have ujjayi breath in your practice, if that's natural to you, beginning to move into that sort of breath where we constrict the muscles in the back of the throat on the exhale to create that sound. And that sound is also a sort of mantra because it keeps us present. It's something to interrupt the racing of the mind. So coming into a few more mindful breaths, continue with that mantra, maybe even throughout our entire practice. And when you're ready, you can blink the eyes open if you would like to. You certainly don't have to. You don't really need your eyes for this. We'll go ahead and inhale to circle the arms around and up to the sky, gathering all of that energy upwards and sealing it together as we connect the palms of the hands at the top, and exhaling to bring it in through heart center, bowing the chin in Anjali Mudra. It's a symbol of gratitude, and let's just take a moment here to really seal in that intention. May all living beings be happy and free, and just kind of consider, what does that mean for you? What does that mean you need to let go of? What needs to be released in order for you to be happy and free? But also, how can you act in a way that inspires or maybe empowers others to be happy and free? Maybe you send that energy to those people who you think need that energy the most. Go ahead and bring your hands back down to your sides. We'll go ahead and inhale the right hand up to the sky, taking a side bend here. Just very gently, you don't have to go too far into it. You can just straighten the right fingertips upwards, and then on an exhale, lowering that hand back down to the earth. Switching sides, left arm lifts as we inhale, extending into that side body. And then we'll switch sides again. So exhale to lower, inhale to lift the right fingertips up. Exhale to lower them back down. Inhale, left fingertips lift. Exhale, lowers. And now we might come into a sort of dance with this. All right, inhaling as we lift those right fingertips, and then maybe this time a bit of a forward bend as we come forward and through, and all the way over to the other side to lift the left fingertips, extending to that side body. Same thing. Exhaling as we come through center. Inhaling to switch sides. And again, you might feel free to close the eyes, get lost in your own rhythm, and sync your breath with your movement. So we find a sense of freedom when we interrupt the negative thoughts that appear in our minds, those thoughts that really aren't you. You are not your thoughts. They're just things that you've heard other people say, and when you hear something over and over, it does sort of seep into that subconscious mind. It does kind of come up, but we can interrupt it. We can begin to change that script. We can do that by moving in a way that is conscious and mindful, by breathing in a way that is conscious and mindful, allowing the breath and the movement to connect. Inhales, lift in the side bend. Exhales, bring it through center to switch sides. Let's go through one or two. Make sure that you even it out so you end on the same side. And then when you're ready, come back through center. Let's go ahead and inhale the arms around and up to the sky, reaching through the fingertips, spreading even the spaces between the fingers so the hands are wide. And then on an exhale, lowering the elbows to about shoulder level. You can either call this cactus arms if you're a plant person, you can call it goalpost if you're a sports person. And then begin to really pinch the shoulder blades together so that the elbows pull back behind you and the heart opens, the chest expands. You can even lift the chin if that feels good. It's as if we're in a cat pose. And then on an exhale, let's go ahead and connect the elbows and the forearms and the hands together. Bring the chin into the chest, kind of round out the back as if we're in a cow pose. Inhale, opens the heart. And exhale, rounds the spine, tucks the chin to chest. So just moving through this variation of seated cat-cows as we warm up the spine. Really pull that belly button in towards that spine to keep the core activated. And even though it seems like a simple movement when you're looking at it, once you begin to do it, you can feel that heat begin to build up. You can feel the strength in your shoulders. And again, we're just connecting our breath with our movement. Go ahead and come back through center, and then lift the arms around and up to the sky. And then on an exhale, you can either bring your hands down in front of you and roll onto the knees for hands and knees, or another way you can get there is just by sinking one hip down and sweeping the feet behind you. So moving in just whatever way makes the most sense to you. And then we'll meet in downward facing dog. So to get there, spreading the fingers wide and hands and knees, shoulders stack above the wrists, hips above the knees. Go ahead and tuck the toes and lift the hips. Start with the knees soft, maybe bent quite generously. The heels don't have to reach the back of the mat. We can bend one knee and press the opposite heel down. Kind of move with one leg at a time, alternating with our breath. Keep equal weight in the hands and really think about tilting the tailbone upwards, activating the hamstrings, Pushing up and out of the wrists, up and out of the shoulders. Chest is melting towards the thighs, and we release the weight of the head and the neck. Soften into the face. Maybe you begin to come up onto the toes, stretch into the ankles. Maybe you even bend the knees real deep and sink the hips back. And just explore a little bit in this space. Investigate the pose in all of its possibilities. And then whenever you're ready, begin to move into a forward fold, the top of the mat. When you arrive, inhale to lift halfway for flattish back. Shoulder blades pinch together, tailbone lifts, spine is long. Exhale, folds back over those legs. Legs are as soft, as bent as they need to be. It might feel good here to either walk the hands into the shape of a rainbow around the feet, or maybe the hands don't quite reach and you don't feel good doing that. Maybe you'd rather just create a box around the head by grabbing opposite elbows and swaying there. Either way, releasing that upper body to allow that reversal of gravity to bring fresh oxygenated blood to the brain, allowing us to feel more energized, more happy, more free. And when you're ready, begin to find softness in the legs as we bend the knees, hinge at the hips. Inhale to circle the arms around and up to the sky. Maybe the palms connect at the top if we have the space. And exhale to bring the hands to their heart center for Namasté. Hands come down to our sides. Let's take a moment and set up our mountain pose, our Tadasana, by lifting all 10 toes, feeling where our feet connect down through those 4 corners. That's underneath the big toe, under the pinky toe, and then the 2 points in the heels, feeling the arches of the feet lift. And then set the toes down, but keep that activation of the legs. So we press down, rooting into the earth, let the shoulders fall back and down. Let the fingertips reach down as the crown of the head reaches up, finding that dynamic tension. And on an inhale, circle the arms around and up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold, wash it away. Inhale to lift halfway, flattish back. Exhale to fold back in a little deeper, forward fold. From here, plant the hands and then step walker, jump the feet back to plank pose, top of a push-up. Some of you will decide to lower the knees down to the earth for a kneeling plank, which is another beautiful option. And then some of you will just find this high plank, and that's great too. On an exhale, bend the elbows, lower through chaturanga. And then some of you might decide to lower all the way onto the bellies, tops of the feet pressed down. You might walk the hands back underneath the elbows and then inhale to lift just the heart. Pinch the shoulder blades together for cobra. Or if you'd like more sensation, you can keep the hands planted where they are and come all the way up onto the tops of the feet and let the heart shine forward for upward dog. On an exhale, you have the option of moving back to downward facing dog. We've been here before. Or you might decide that child's pose feels better for you as a resting pose today. So for child's, we just let the hips sink back to the heels. We may rest the forehead down to the earth or onto a prop. The arms can reach out in front of us or they can come next to our sides. Okay, so finding that resting pose that calls to you in this moment, knowing that it can change from round to round of sun salutation and that you can always go back to your resting pose if our practice becomes too intense. Or if you just want to come back to your breath and your intention. And so breathing here, full breaths. And one more breath in your resting pose. And then begin to make your way to forward fold. Maybe bend the knees, look between the hands. Step walker jump to arrive. Halfway lift when you get there. Exhale, fold back in. Inhale, root to rise, sweep the arms around and up. Remember those adjustments we made in our mountain pose before. Exhale, hands through heart center. and down to our sides. May all living beings be happy and free. Inhale, circle the arms back, around, and up. Exhale, forward fold, wash it away. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold back in, plant the hands, step walker, jump the feet back, and move through that vinyasa, your version. Lower down through chaturanga. Inhale, lifts the heart up and through. Exhale, presses back, downward facing dog. Taking 3 to 5 breaths. 3 to 5 full breaths. When you're ready, bend the knees, look between the hands, find a forward fold, top of the mat. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, folds back in. Inhale, root to rise, sweep the arms around and up. Exhale, hands through heart center and down to our sides. May all living beings be happy and free. Reconnect with that. Inhale, circle the arms up towards the sky. Exhale, forward fold, wash it away. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, plant the hands, step walker, jump the feet back, plank pose, and move through your vinyasa. Lower down chaturanga, your version. Inhale, opens your heart, cobra or upward dog. And exhale, presses back to either downward facing dog or child's pose. Take 3 to 5 breaths there. From here, we'll begin to add on to our flow. So we build that longer, more intense vinyasa flow. On an inhale, 3-legged dog, lifting the right leg up towards the sky just as high as it's available. Always listen to your body. And if it feels good in your body to bend this right knee, stack the hips and twist open, you can. If that feels good to open up that hip flexor, release any tension there, sending your breath to that area, keeping equal weight in the hands. Go ahead and straighten the knees, square off the hips when you're ready. And on an exhale, go ahead and draw the right knee in towards the nose, curling the spine, chin to chest. Sort of spinal wave, shifting the weight towards the hands. And then on an inhale, go ahead and lift that right foot back up towards the sky. On an exhale, drawing knee to nose again, curling it all in. Lifting the right foot towards the right glute, and then go ahead and step the right foot between the hands. On an inhale, rising up to crescent warrior. Adjust your stance however you need to. If it's too intense, you can just shorten your stance by stepping the left foot forward, okay? If you need more sensation, step the left foot further back. As long as that right knee stacks above that right ankle, tracking towards the pinky toe, then you're good. Hips square to the front of the mat. Hands work towards touching if you're taking care of your shoulders. Hands at heart center might feel better, right? Breathing here. And then on your next exhale, we'll move towards lightning bolt pose. For lightning bolt, you can either reach straight out through the fingertips, crown of the head reaches forward, there's no creases in the back of the neck at all. Or maybe your hands stay by your sides, or maybe at heart center. Inhale, lifts the heart back up for crescent warrior. Bit of a back bend if that feels good. Left hip draws forward, right hip draws back, inner thighs squeeze towards one another towards a center midline. And then on an exhale, lightning bolt. Really press down through that right foot. Stay grounded and rooted. Inhale, lifts the heart back up, crescent. And on an exhale, hover the chest above the right leg for lightning bolt. Inhale, rises back up. And on an exhale, go ahead and just surround this right foot with the hands for a low lunge. And then go ahead and begin to inhale that right hand up towards the sky. Twist open for dragonfly twist. Right shoulder stacks above the left shoulder. Rotate through the waist. Maybe even a little bit through the hips. That's okay. And on an exhale, go ahead and plant the right hand to surround the front foot. Step the right foot back to meet the left for plank pose. Then you have the option to flow through your vinyasa, lowering through chaturanga. Inhaling for up dog or cobra. And exhaling to meet back in down dog. Readjust when you're ready. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, perhaps we bend the left knee, stack the hips and twist open. Inhale, straightens the left leg, squaring off the hips. Exhale, draws the left knee towards the nose as we shift the weight forward. Chin to chest. Inhale, three-legged dog, left leg presses up towards the sky. Exhale, draws the left knee towards the nose. Feel the strength, feel the fire, the heat, belly button hugs the spine, and then step that left foot between the hands. Adjust your stance how you need to. It doesn't have to be the same as it was on the other side. Inhale to rise up. Crescent warrior. So again, check in with the body. Take inventory. Does the pose need to change? Or are you just automatically going to where you always go and assuming that it's fine because it's always the way you do it, right? You have to check back in with the truth because it can change. Inhale here to lengthen through the spine, reach up through the fingertips. Exhale, lightning bolt. Hover the chest above the left thigh. Reaching forward through the crown of the head, maybe through the hands, or maybe the hands reach behind, shoulder blades falling down the back. Inhale, lifts the heart, crescent warrior. Exhale, hovers the chest, lightning bolt. Inhale, crescent warrior. Exhale, lightning bolt. Inhale, crescent warrior. Exhale, low lunge, surround the left foot with the hands. And on an inhale, left hand lifts, dragonfly twist, shoulders stacking above one another. Gaze is up at the left fingertips. And when you're ready, go ahead and lower the left hand back down to the earth. Step the left foot back to meet the right. An option to flow through that vinyasa or option to skip it. Meeting back in our resting pose. Maybe take a breath there if you need to. And when you're ready, bend the knees. Look between the hands. Find a forward fold at the top of the mat. Halfway lift when you arrive. Exhale to fold back in. Inhale, root to rise. Sweep the arms around and up to the sky. Exhale, hands through heart center. And down to our sides. Inhale, lifts the arms back around and up. And this time on an exhale, we'll take chair pose, Utkatasana, by sinking the hips down low, keeping the chest lifted, shoulders back and down. And the weight is in our heels, so kind of feel that shifting of the weight. You might even play with it, moving the feet forwards and backwards in a rocking motion. It might feel like we could fall down, right? And it's okay to feel like we're falling, like we're suspended in midair. Getting used to that feeling. Knowing that if we fall, we'll get back up. If we begin to crumble at the foundation, we can rebuild. When you're ready, inhale, circle the arms back up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step walker, jump the feet back. Option to flow through your vinyasa. Option to skip it and take a rest. Whenever you're ready, we'll find downward facing dog. Inhale to lift the right leg when you get there. Three-legged dog. Option to bend the knees, stack the hips, twist open if it feels good. Inhale to straighten the right leg, squaring off the hips. And exhale, drawing the right knee towards the nose, shifting our weight forwards. Chin to chest. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose, spinal wave, shifting the weight forward. And then step the right foot between the hands. Adjust your stance. Inhale, crescent warrior. Exhale, lightning bolt. We've been here before. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, lightning bolt. Inhale, crescent. And for this third round, I'm going to give you two different options, or you can keep with lightning bolt like we've already done. So one option is to bring the hands down and to lift the left foot for like a standing split, or you might decide to move right into warrior three if that's in your practice. So to just get buoyant on that back foot and find a focal point. Lift the heart as high as the foot as high as the heart. Maybe not today, maybe one day, maybe not. And then whenever you're ready, rising back up to crescent warrior. And on an exhale, we'll open it up to warrior two. I'm going to move to face you. So for warrior two, the hips square open to the side wall now, or to the side of the mat. We keep this strong lunge in the right knee. Press down through the outer edge of the left foot. Gazes over the right fingertips. Inhale, reaches forward. Lift the palm. Exhale, reverse warrior. Extend through that right side body. Left hand stays next to our side. Inhaling here. And on an exhale, surrounding the right foot with the hands. Low lunge. And on an inhale, right hand reaches up to the sky. Dragonfly twist. Rotate through the waist. And another option here, maybe we decide to lower this left knee down to the earth. If we have the space in our body and in our practice, we might consider bending this left knee and going for a bind by grabbing onto the edge of that left foot with the right hand. All it does, it creates more of a quadricep stretch. And so if it's painful, if you hate this, then don't do it. All right, stay where you are. And whenever you're ready, releasing that bind gently without snapping, right? Go ahead and surround this right foot with the hands. Low lunge. Step the right foot back to meet the left. An option to flow through your vinyasa. Inhale, opens the heart. Exhale, takes your resting pose. And just take a breath or so. Check back in. And then whenever you're ready, go ahead and lift that left leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, option to bend the knees, stack the hips and twist open. Inhale to straighten the knees, square off the hips. Exhale, draws the left knee towards the nose, curl the spine, shift the weight towards the hands. Inhale, lift the left foot towards the sky, three-legged dog. Exhale, same thing, draw knee to nose, curl the spine, lift the heel towards the glute, and then set the foot between the hands. Adjust your stance. Inhale, lifts the arms up towards the sky. Crescent warrior, high lunge. And on an exhale, lightning bolt pose. Hover the chest. Inhale, lifts the chest. Exhale, lightning bolt, bowing forward. Inhale, lifts the chest. And then on this third round, remember we have different options that we can decide to take. We can stick with lightning bolt. We can lower the hands down to the earth and lift the right leg. Or we can work towards warrior three. Any combination of the three would be fine too. Feel free to play. Find that freedom in your body. And when you're ready, whenever you're done playing here, go ahead and lower the toes down if they're not already and lift the heart up for crescent warrior. And on an exhale, we'll open up those hips to warrior two. I'll turn to face you. Shoulders are nice and relaxed. Spine is tall. Hips are open. Really lunge into this left knee. Inhale, reaches forward. Flip the palm. Exhale, reverse warrior. Extend through that left side body. Breathe. Use this as a sort of resting pose. And then on an exhale, let's just go ahead and cartwheel the hands to surround this left foot. Adjust your stance again, maybe. And then inhale to lift the left hand, rotate through the waist. Option to lower the right knee down to the earth. Begin to bend that right knee. Perhaps go for the bind. Maybe you try it and you can't reach it, and that's okay. You tried. All you can do is your best. And in yoga, your best is always enough. And when you're ready, go ahead and release the bind gently if you had it. Go ahead and lower the left hand down, pick up the right knee. Step the left foot back to meet the right. Option to flow through that vinyasa. To keep that fire stoked. When you're ready, bend the knees up between the hands. Make your way to forward fold in a way that makes sense to you. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold back in. Inhale, root to rise, sweep the arms around and up to the sky. And on an exhale, sink the hips low, chair pose. Hands can reach out in front or find heart center. Before, we played around with shifting the weight forwards and backwards, heels and toes. This time, let's see if we can bring our weight all the way onto the toes. And really lift the heels. Balancing on the ball mounds of the feet. Can we begin to sink the hips a little lower? Feel the shakiness. That's the energy leaving our body. Let it go. Release. And maybe we begin to lower the hips a little more. Keep going. And then we can begin to rest the hips against the heels. Maybe at this time we go ahead and lower the hands down to the mat. And so we're in this sort of toe squat position. And so from here, we can either work this into a yogi squat by separating the feet mat's width and letting the hips sink a little lower. We can keep the feet together like they are already, and then just work towards separating the knees wide where we're at with the toes together. And then maybe we decide to begin to work on crow pose a little bit. For crow, I like to start with my toes together so both my big toes touch. And then from here, I'm going to plant my hands and really lift the hips up high. All right, the butt weighs a lot in comparison to the rest of the muscles. And so we want to start with it lifted. And then from there, we can begin to place the knees onto either the armpits or like that shelf of the bicep. Maybe shift the weight forward, keep the gaze lifted. If you look down at the mat, that is where you will go. And then maybe one foot lifts, maybe two, maybe none of them. Maybe we just work on the prep. Wherever you're at is part of your journey and you have to honor that. Okay, you guys, when you're ready, if you're in a crow and you feel confident with your crow pose, then you may decide to just shoot the feet back to chaturanga. Otherwise, you can just come back to your squat if that's where you are already maybe, and then step the feet back from there. And then maybe you go through that vinyasa. Or maybe you're like, what are you thinking? I'm not doing that. And that's fine too. Listen to your body. Inhale, right leg lifts, three-legged dog. Exhale, bends the knees, stacks the hips to twist open. Inhale, straightens the right leg, squaring off the hips. Exhale, draws knee to nose. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, drawing knee to nose. And then step the foot all the way through. Adjust the stance, rise up, crescent warrior on an inhale. Exhale, lightning bolt. Inhale, crescent rise. Exhale, lightning bolt, bow forward. Inhale, crescent. And on an exhale, your choice of lightning bolt, standing split, or warrior three. Take a moment in that pose, maybe go through one round of breath in that pose. And then on an inhale, finding crescent warrior. On an exhale, warrior two. I'm turning to face you. Inhale, reach forward, flip the palm. Exhale, reverse warrior. Extend through the right side body. On an exhale, cartwheel the hands to surround this right foot. And on an inhale, right hand lifts. Option to exhale, lower the left knee down to the earth. And then perhaps bend the knee and grab for the left foot. Get a little bit of a quadricep stretch. Or maybe not a little, maybe a lot. And then when you're ready, coming back to dragonfly twist, go ahead and lower the right hand down to the earth. And then begin to heel toe this right foot towards the left wrist, towards the left edge of the mat. And then begin to get ready for pigeon pose by lowering the right shin down. You might have to angle that right knee forward, that right foot might begin to angle back towards the left hip, and that's okay. The important part is that we keep this right foot super flexed to protect our knee joint. And then this left leg stays planted against the mat and in about the center of the mat, in line with the hips so that the hips square forward. Checking all these little details. And if we have a really big gap between our right hip and the mat, then we might put a pillow or a rolled up blanket there to fill in that space. On an inhale, maybe we lift the arms up towards the sky. And on an exhale, we can bow forward for sleeping pigeon if that's comfortable and available for us. Taking a few breaths here, using this as our resting pose and checking back in with the mind, finding where does it go, what is our self-talk, and just kind of stop and examine that self-talk, because if that self-talk is kind of a nagging voice, you know, complaining, maybe kind of a bully or judging what this version of this pose looks like in your body, then that's not you. So stop and observe that inner voice and just kind of think, who put that there? Who did? Because that's not you. And so when we stop and at least examine what is happening, then we can sort of get beyond it and let it go, because you shouldn't step onto a plane with stuff in your bag that isn't yours, right? Stuff that you didn't personally pack, yet you're bringing with you here. So begin to just unpack. May all living beings be happy and free. And with that saying, what we're really talking about is to be free is to kind of release any kind of guilt or shame. So we must start with within, because we're the only ones we really have full control of, for the most part. And then it creates a sort of ripple effect. And if we stay still enough, repeat that mantra over and over, you might even be able to feel that vibration bounce back to you. And that's the beauty of it. That's the karmic cycle, isn't it? And then inhale, begin to walk the hands back towards the body, lift the chest back up. Maybe some of you stay here for a moment, continue to breathe. Maybe some of you would like a little extra sensation if for some reason you're bored. You might decide to bend this left knee. Actually, let's go ahead and lift this left arm up and then back to go for a bind. Yeah, if that feels good for mermaid pose, you can. Obviously, it's an option and not a requirement. And then when you're ready, gently, without snapping, release the bind if you decided to take it. And we'll gently begin to pick up this right leg, come into maybe a downward dog and walk it out for a minute, iron out that right side. And then once you feel evened out a little bit, we can go ahead and inhale to lift this left foot towards the sky. And on an exhale, maybe bend the knees, stack the hips, twist open. Inhale, straightens the left leg, squaring the hips off. Exhale, draws the left knee towards the nose. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose. And then step it through. Inhale, lift the chest, reaching up towards the sky. Crescent warrior. And on an exhale, lightning bolt pose. Hover the chest above the left thigh. Inhale, crescent warrior. Exhale, lightning bolt. Inhale, crescent. And on an exhale, either lightning bolt, standing split, or warrior three. Take a round of breath here. And on an inhale, rising back up to crescent. Exhale, warrior two. I'll turn to face you. Inhale, reach forward, flip the palm. Exhale, reverse. Inhale here. Exhale, cartwheel the hands to surround this left foot. Inhale, left arm lifts. Exhale, lowers the right knee. Perhaps goes for a bind. It's not required. And when you're ready, go ahead and lower the left hand down to the earth. Pick up the right knee. Begin to heel toe this left foot towards the right wrist. And then when it's available, begin to lower the right leg down, lower the left knee down. Adjust however you need to. You might need to pick up the hips and recenter them so that they're both squared forward and that we're not falling to just one side, right? Because then we're not getting anything from the pose. And so adjust, take your time to settle in. The side might feel different, and that's fine. And also know that we carry a lot of emotions in the hips, and so you may begin to feel those emotions release, sort of come up, and that's okay too. Allow it to happen. When you're ready, you might begin to lower the forearms down to the earth, just to really settle into this pigeon pose. Breathing and resting. So in order to be happy and free, what we must do is uncover the truth. We all have certain core beliefs within ourselves, core certainties even, that we don't ever second guess. Maybe it's our relationships, our jobs, our families, and we don't check on these things because we assume that they're going well and that they are the way they're supposed to be and that they are making us happy. But then we might feel, I don't know, just like a intuitive feeling that something's off, but you can't figure it out why, and you check in with those certainties, but very briefly, because you're like, oh no, that's fine. But no, to uncover the truth, we must even re-examine those core certainties. And we may find that things aren't going as well as maybe we had assumed. And then we can begin to change. Or maybe we just find out that, yeah, you were right. Everything is fine. And at least you checked. And now you know. And that's just what we need to do. Just keep re-examining our beliefs. And we might find out new information. And that's okay. You can change your mind about things, and that doesn't make you a hypocrite. As long as you're not criticizing you or others for your truth. When you're ready, begin to walk the hands back towards the body. Maybe we stop here and begin to bend this right knee, lifting the right hand up and then over towards the right foot to get more of this quadricep and shoulder stretch that happens here. If that's just not comfortable or even possible, then don't worry about it. It's no big deal. Your friends will still love you, even if you can't put your foot to the back of your head. When you're ready, gently lower that foot down to the earth, planting the hands, pick up the right knee, and then maybe find downward dog. Take any sort of counter pose that your body craves to even out that pigeon pose on the other side. And then when you're ready, go ahead and just lower the knees down to the earth. And let's sink the hips back for hero's pose. Sitting up nice and tall. Hips are back onto the heels. And then go ahead and just plant the hands underneath your shoulders. Fingertips pointing towards the knees or towards the front of the mat. And on an inhale, begin to lift the hips, stretching out both of those quadriceps. Let the head hang back if that feels okay. If not, it might just stay in line with the natural curvature of the spine. And then when you're ready, let the hips sink back down towards the heels. Standing all the way up on an inhale onto the knees. Lift the arms up towards the sky. Then on an exhale, either bring the hands to the hips, squeezing the elbows towards one another and letting the heart open for camel. Maybe a full camel by bringing the hands down towards the ankles or the heels and really stretching that front body. And then slowly rise up on an inhale. And then sink the hips back down for hero's pose. Go ahead and sink one hip down and sweep the feet out in front. And then go ahead, bring the soles of the feet onto the mat, knees pointing upwards. Just kind of curl into a little ball. Give yourself a hug. Maybe you bring your forehead down to the knees. And then when you're ready, releasing the binder on the legs. Let the legs come long for staff pose, Dandasana. Readjust so that you're seated in the center of the mat. Go ahead and inhale the arms up towards the sky. And then on an exhale, begin to just lower down. Reach out in front of you, but just roll one vertebrae down to the mat at a time. Until we get all the way down to our backs. And from here, let's take a spinal twist. Go ahead and bring the right knee in towards the chest. Maybe give it a little massage side to side into that hip flexor. And then when you're ready, you can cross that right knee over to the left side. Bring the right arm long into a half T. And look over those right fingertips. On an inhale, when you're ready, knee comes back through center. Maybe give it a hug. And then let it come long against the mat. Maybe feeling that that leg is now a bit longer than the left leg. Interesting. Inhale the left knee in towards the chest. And on an exhale, crossing the left knee over to the right side. Bring the left arm long into a half T. Let the shoulder blades stay flat against the earth. Gazes over the left fingertips. And on an inhale, bringing the left knee in towards the chest. Maybe give it a hug. And on an exhale, bringing the left leg long against the mat. Letting them be even length now. Adjust your body if you need to move around a little bit in order to get comfy here. As we move into Shavasana, final relaxation. Take any last poses if your body still craves anything before we take rest. Otherwise, we'll meet in Shavasana to really sink into the earth. Allow the bones to grow heavy, the muscles to relax, to completely let go for these last few minutes of our practice together. Please don't skip Shavasana. This is important. Really allow all of this practice, everything we've gone through and done to settle in. Begin to integrate our Dharma, our talk about freedom, happiness into our lives. Considering that notion of what it means to be happy and free. What would that look like to us? What would that look like if it were true for all beings? What would it look like if all living beings are happy and free? When you're ready, begin to invite gentle movement back in, rolling fingers and toes, wrists and ankles, head and neck, drawing the knees in towards the body one at a time to curl into a little ball. Maybe rock a little side to side gently and slowly. Appreciating where we can feel our body connect down to the mat. A reminder that we belong. And when you're ready, begin to make your way to a seated position, cross-legged at the front of the mat. Sitting up nice and tall, exactly the way we started. Yoga's like a circle. Shoulders back and down, crown of the head lifts. Inhale, circles the arms around and up to the sky. Palms meet at the top. Exhale, seals in our practice. Bowing the chin in gratitude. Thank you all for sharing this practice with me today. The light in me sees the light in you. And where those lights meet is where we find connection, and that connection is the meaning of the word yoga. Namaste.